Like I did with April, I compiled a few games that probably not a lot of people played. This compilation features new games and remasters across the Switch and Xbox One. Were there any hidden gems in May, or were these 5 games passed up for a reason? Let's begin with Rising Hell, which is a game that, well, surprised the hell out of me. It's a literal vertical roguelike in that you're trying to escape hell from starting at the bottom and working your way up. The starting character has a claw that when uppercutting an enemy, you can chain onto others to create this incredible sense of inertia as you make your way through randomly generated sections. You do choose paths along the way to bosses, much like Dead Cells' approach to levels. As a true roguelike, nothing transfers between runs. You get these purple gems you can use to unlock new characters or abilities to equip onto your characters before you start your run, but you don't gain new stats or anything like that. All that stuff can be obtained in your runs using a currency to buy upgrades or by finding them from enemy drops. Don't expect it to be like another recent roguelike trip into hell, aka Hades, which had a story and plenty of upgrades to make you feel stronger each time you restarted. Look at Rising Hell instead as more of an arcade experience and you'll have a great time. Next, Eagle Island Twist. So, the original Eagle Island came out in 2019. This is like a half sequel or more like a major update, but one with an ingenious idea. See, the original game was a roguelike platformer with some Metroidvania elements. The overall setting of the island was set in place, but there were dungeons that randomized themselves. This game includes that original concept in a separate mode on top of this new adventure wherein the developers used its assets to create handcrafted levels. Most of them are great bite-sized experiences with unique twists to them. One involves enemies blowing up upon death, another has ice appearing beneath you, one has you collect springs to rocket into the sky, and so on. They're so inventive and fun that getting through a level was exciting, if only to see what the next gimmick was. The controls feel tighter, which is a plus, and the pixel art is just as gorgeous as before. That said, I do have a small gripe mainly focusing on the fact that these reused assets do make the levels blur together. The only thing setting them apart is the gimmicks, which are, again, cool, but it does lessen the fun after going through almost the same type of level environment dozens of times. Overall, Eagle Island Twist is a great update and a charming little platformer worth checking out. Let's jump from the positive vibes right into some negative ones via RWBY Grimm Eclipse Definitive Edition. Now, if I found this game online for free with the implied notion that this was a fan-made based game on the anime, I would think, hey, this is pretty cool. But it's not. This is an official release sanctioned by Rooster Teeth, and it's $30. The bare bones action you'll get out of this definitive edition, I say in the biggest air quotes I can muster, is bland to say the least. On a positive note, I do think all the playable characters have some cool combos, and the co-op is nice, plus the music, just like the anime, is rockin'. I get what they are trying to make, a hack and slash game, perhaps in the same vein as Dynasty Warriors. That's a series I love, but will admit it's not for everyone due to the repetitive nature of everything and lack of polish in some areas. RWBY makes any game in that series look like The Last of Us 2 by comparison, which is to say, this RWBY game is like a beta, or more like a alpha. That price alone is an insult to gamers, and it's really hard to recommend. Getting a little higher from there, we have Wonder Boy, Asha, and Monster World. The original game for this remake was released in 1994 in Japan for the Sega Genesis, or if one wants to be completely correct for the region, the Sega Mega Drive. It has received many ports over the years, but this is the first big remake. While it does add more than just visuals, the updates don't make it stand out too much from the original. That is to say, the gameplay, while solid as an action platformer, can feel a bit stiff next to modern games in the genre. The redone art does look nice, but the extra story bits feel unnecessary. All in all, it might be a better idea to play the original, as $35 right now at launch is a steep asking price. The original is wonderful, and this version too is good, but not mind-blowing to be clear. So if you've never played either version, maybe put this one on a wish list for when it goes on sale. Lastly, let's take a look at another remaster and one where I can lift the spirits back up in this video. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance was a 2001 PS2 game with an Xbox, GameCube, and GBA port to follow. It's based on the D&D universe and is a top-down action RPG. This remaster is barely a remaster at all, as it only added 4K support, but not everything was touched up like the title screen. That's the only real negative up front, because whether this was remastered or not, just getting the port would have been enough for a lot of gamers like myself. Sure, I could also call up some small gripes like the story not being that interesting despite the excellent voice cast, or the fact that the dungeon layouts lack inspiration. All that being said, what was great in 2001 remains fun now, in that it's a blast to play with a friend. Repetitive? You bet it is, but this is an example of a mindless hack and slash game that feels right, unlike more modern examples like RWBY, to really punch that game one more time. Although, like some of the other prices on here, I will wag my finger at the $30 price tag for this game, again, not being remastered that much at all. It's kind of ridiculous. And that's all the smaller indie games and remasters I checked out in May. I did dedicate entire videos to Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne's remaster, along with Biomutant. If you're curious about those two games and how they turned out, check out those reviews. Otherwise, let's all look forward to June and the reviews I'll be covering then, along with E3, baby. It's coming soon. Did you like that video? If you did, please like, subscribe, and spread the good word of ReActionExaminer. If you want to read more of my stuff, you can find a plethora of my articles over at TheGamer and Game Rant. All of those links and more are in the show notes below. Thanks for watching!